Hey guys, what's up? Aerotherapy here with another updated tutorial on OBS Studio. It's comparatively new out, and I just switched over to it myself and took some time getting the whole thing set up and migrated over from the old OBS because there really is no way to export and import things. So I had to reset everything up, and I realized that maybe some folks are new to it and would be a little more confused than I was, and I was confused. So I'm going to go from the very beginning, a very good place to start, and show you guys if you're just new to streaming, if you're just new to Lotro and you want to stream it, or if you're new to whatever. I'm going to take you step by step through the process of how to get started streaming on Twitch or on YouTube using OBS and playing Lotro, or any other game really, because it's the same process. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up a browser window and get yourself OBS. So you're going to see a web page, obsproject.com. If you want to get OBS Studio, this is the older one that I first made a tutorial for a little whiles back, but this is the new updated one. You're going to want to click on whichever one of these you have here. It used to be awful, but now it's awesome. So the first thing you want to do is going to download OBS Studio. The next thing you want to do is make an account on Twitch. You're going to navigate to your dashboard in the menu on the side, and you're going to go over to where it says Stream Key. Keep that open, keep it handy, you'll need it later. That's one main thing that you're going to want to do. Do not show this key to anybody. If I show this key, that would be a terribly bad idea, because then I'd have to reset it. Because anyone can, with your key, can use your channel. So make sure you don't show your key to anybody. But get OBS. It's going to come out looking something like this. Comparatively boring at the moment. The first thing you're going to want to do is make a profile. Now, I have 3 profiles already set up here because I stream on 2 Twitch channels. So what a profile does is it lets you set up different output settings. So this recording setting is if I'm recording something, I have it set at like 8,000 bit rate, which you can't really stream with. When you stream, it has to be lower than that for reasons I'll explain later. But so I have a profile for Aerotherapy Twitch, and under the settings, you're going to want to come in here and mess with stuff. But make sure you label your profile just so it's labeled and saved and things like that. You can do that by renaming whatever the default one is. I think it's untitled. Just rename it to something exciting. And that's your first thing to do. Scene collection. Now this is if you stream multiple games or you want to do multiple things using OBS. This will make it a lot easier. If I want to stream Lotro, for example, I've got all sorts of, hey, it's me with a creepily blurry camera. Not sure what's up with that. I'm going to need to fix that basically immediately. Let's do this now. Configure video. I said configure video. This keeps doing this too. Hey, what's up? Anyways, you have scenes, Lotro. If I was going to get a whole nother set of scenes here, I could do that. But this is my recording profile. Again, this is what I'm using to demonstrate. So you'll see something like this. It just says scene. This is your scene. Actually, when you first get it, it's going to look like this. You basically just click the studio mode button. You will hardly ever need to use this unless you're producing something of a much higher quality than what most of us will be doing. You don't really need this. So studio mode off. Also, if you'll notice, it takes a lot more, of course now it's not going to. There we go. It takes a good bit more CPU to do studio mode because it's basically doing 2 videos at once. So turn that off. You don't need it. It's confusing. The first thing you'll need to do is to add a source. What these are basically different things that you can have as part of your OBS experience. You can add an image. You can add a media source, which is like a video. You could add text to things. Display capture is basically taking a video of your monitor. You could do that and kind of get away with things perfectly fine, but it's not a very computer efficient way of doing things. The best, if you're wanting to capture a window, you can do that. Game capture is the most efficient way of capturing video from a game. So let's do that first. Let's add, assuming it's Lotro, you're going to add a game capture. And let's call it Lotro. Okay. Now you want to make sure that you title it. because this is a nice new feature. This now becomes another a global source for this scene profile. So if I make another scene and I want to add game capture in, I just got to go there, and instead of adding a new game capture, I can just add existing one, and then all the settings that I do here will be saved for it. So make sure you title all the things you add. Capture any full screen application? No, you don't want that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the game here, just so you can see what it's going to look like. Because there's a few key things you need to know between Lotro and OBS that are a little funky for optimum streaming purposes. Also, you'll see I've got these little yellow numbers down on the corners of things. You noticed it probably in OBS too. You probably won't have that. Don't worry about it. It's a separate program that I have to cap my frame rate. Because if it's above a certain level, it's kind of useless. So you come here and hang on. Let's get out of this. Discard. Properties. Here we go. You'll see Lotro Client EXE. You want that. Window match priority, the executable name. So you want this Lotro source to only show Lotro, this program. You want to capture cursor, and this isn't really important, but I have it on. Limit capture framing, you can if you want to. You don't really need to. I wouldn't bother with checking any of these things. Capture third-party overlays, only if you want to. I would recommend not leaving that on, especially if you do play through Steam. So there you go. You're now capturing Lotro, and all you really need to do is click Start Recording. But there are a few things you need to do in Lotro first. So let's get this out of the way. In the options, I have a 1920 by 1080 screen. Whatever you end up using, well, first things first, display. Full screen windowed will make your life so much easier. If you play in a windowed already, you're good to go, but playing full screen is a bear to capture. So full screen windowed is the way to go in terms of streaming. The full screen resolution, and windowed resolution, you basically want it to be at an aspect ratio of 16:9 for Twitch. Whatever your browser or whatever your monitor size is, if you play full screen windowed, will be what it spits out as. But I would recommend, if you have a monitor that's not a 16:9 aspect ratio, I would recommend playing the game in windowed format and having it output the windowed resolution as something that's in 16:9, just to make your life easier later on, so you don't have weird black bars by the sides of things and things like that. But this here is the most important thing to know. Full screen windowed, if you want to play full screen windowed. Aspect ratio, 16:9. And take note of what this resolution is. Because in OBS, you're going to go back into those settings that you first went into. And the first thing you want to do is under stream. This is where you're going to paste your stream key. I would recommend doing that last, so you don't accidentally go live while you're fiddling with stuff. Do that part last. The output, if you want to go simple output, which I would recommend for starters. For most things, if you're not a partnered streamer on Twitch, you don't have options to get your quality changed until you hit around 40 to 50 viewers. So if you're getting over 40 to 50 viewers every time you stream and you want to stream at a higher bitrate, feel free. But I would recommend keeping it at something that other people can watch. I know a lot of folks that play Lotro that are at least hang out in my channel don't have the best internet in the world. And if I streamed at 3,500, which is the maximum allowed by Twitch, then they wouldn't be able to watch. So I dropped to 2,500. Because I have a comparative potato of a CPU for streaming purposes, I can't really use X264 because it just hogs up my machine. So I used NVENC. But if you were streaming, I would recommend going with X264 if you have the CPU to handle it. Very fast is fine. If you wanted to record stuff, here's where you put the file for that. Also recommend going into advanced output mode. Keyframe interval 2. This is something that Twitch wants us to do, and I have no clue what the heck it means, but we're supposed to put that in that little box, so that's what we do. Audio, this is where you'll put in whatever audio information. You basically don't need to bother with it. Video, this is the fun part. This number here should match this number there. Whatever this number is needs to match the same as that number. Otherwise, it's going to be very confusing for yourself later on. The tempting thing to do is to put it up at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and go to town, and it will look positively hideous at 2500 bitrate. Don't do it. As tempting as it is, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna look very good. The way I had it explained to me, and it's not apparently entirely precise, but it's good enough, is that this bitrate number is how much information you're putting out per second in this thing here. If you have a picture that's this big with only 2500 little bits to make up, it's going to be kind of a grainy, yucky looking picture. If you drop it down to 720 resolution, it's going to look a good bit better. If your computer can handle it, I would recommend going Lanczos. I have no idea how to pronounce it. This is what I use. This is what I've used for quite a few years now, actually. Well, a few years being relative. I've been on Twitch for like a year and a half. So pretty much since I figured out what the heck I was doing, I've been using these settings. 2500 bitrate, 720p, Lanczos, 30 frames a second. That'll get you where you need to go. Even when you become a partnered streamer on Twitch, things will look better if you go 720, 60 frames per second than 1080, 30 frames per second. It's just weird. Hotkeys. This is the fun part. As you make new scenes here, you can specify hotkeys that you want to use to switch them. No, go away. For example, I've got my Lotro scene collection here. I have here we go. Settings. Hotkeys. I have all these different hotkeys set to things. So when I start streaming on this starting soon image here. And when I want to actually start showing my lovely face, I hit the button that goes with my Lotro desktop, or excuse me, with my Lotro welcome window scene, which is num7. So as you, every single one of your sources will have a hotkey. You will go crazy if you try to put something in for every one of them. I use my numpad to switch scenes, and for soundboard purposes, which I'll go into a little bit later. But basically, this is hotkeys. You can set a hotkey on your computer to switch from scene to scene to make your life a little tiny bit easier. This stuff, you just don't bother with. So those are the settings that you'll need to know to get into that nonsense. Let's go back to this. Okay, so you've got yourself your Lotro scene. The next thing you want to do, once you've got your Lotro settings good to go, you know what's going on over here. You've got your output settings over here to match. Oh, forgot to say, whatever this output bitrate is, it's 8,000 because this is my recording scene or recording profile. Whatever your output rate is, you don't want that to be more than about 60% to 75% of whatever your upload speed is. So if you have 3 megabit per second, whatever upload, then you can go around 2000 bitrate comfortably without having too much lag and yucky looking problems from your end. Just something to keep in mind. And the lower this number goes, the lower you're going to have to crank this down. But to be honest, something streamed at 540 at 2000 bitrate is going to look way better than something trying to be streamed at 1080 at 2500 bitrate. It's just the way it is because of the information thing. So whatever your upload speed is, that's going to determine how good you can actually get it. But in any case, I wouldn't recommend going over 2500 bitrate and 720 at 30 frames per second for now until you get partnered, which I'm sure you guys will. So you've got your scene. Now you want to, let's say, add a webcam to it. It's pretty simple. Add video capture device. Typing webcam. Webcam. I have a green screen behind me. Don't worry about it. I'll show you how to take care of that too. So here's your webcam. Let's probably when you first start it, it's going to be massively huge. Mine's still chopped down from before when I did this. What is this? Go away. Is this it? It was really big, and you could see all either side of me. Anyways, to resize this in any scene, you just drag the corner. I'm tiny. I'm big. To chop off, let's say this weird black bar along the side of my green screen, you hold down Alt and just drag it in, and you're good to go. Let's say I want this in that corner. Now, with any source effect, I'll show you this to give you another idea of what you can do. If you want to add a logo to your stream, for instance, pictures, streaming images, logos, A3 alpha. Okay, that's the logo Greymaster made for me. It's pretty sweet. It's also massive. I'm going to shrink that down there. Now, if I want this, say, logo to be non-opaque, if I want it to be somewhat transparent, I would do the same thing I would do to my webcam if I want to use the green screen. I would go to filters, and then here you can add filters. So in this case, let's say chroma key. Okay, chroma key and green. Let's do this. Nah, I forget what it is. I've got it set up. We basically have to play. Green screens are a pain in the butt, by the way. But basically, you play with this until you get the green gone and just my head there. For a logo, what you would do is same thing. Filters, add, image mask blend, and then the opacity, let's drop it down to say 50%. Now, oh come on, did I save it? I did. I just did this today too. It's gonna bug me. What did I do to do this? Play with these settings here, and that's how you can make your very own. I'm failing at this right now. This is how you can make your very own non-whatever thing. You know what? I'm coming over here to transparent logo. Filters is image mask blend, alpha mask color. I did. Oh wait, 00. I don't know what I did. I have no idea. But that's how you do it. If you want to add filters and other things to images, you can add scrolling text across things, and I'll show you how I do that with my thanks for watching here. The thanks for watching text filters. Wrong text. Scrolling follow text. Scroll, horizontal speed, vertical speed, basically exactly what it looks like. The thing about this that confused me is because in the old OBS, it would be in properties. It would be in here where you would do it. But in the new OBS, you've got to go to filters. Just a little bit more clunky, but it works. Oh, good heavens. Okay, so you've got yourself a logo, you've got yourself a webcam, you've got the game in the background. You're basically good to go in terms of everything you need for streaming. You've got your OBS settings, the way they need to be for streaming. Output is all set, and I would recommend testing until you get something that you like. You can record, and it will look the same as a stream. You don't need to start streaming and stop streaming and start streaming and then stop streaming. You don't need to do that. You will drive yourself absolutely insane if you do. So a couple advanced things. If you want to go and take things a little bit further, some stuff that you can do is, first off, you will need to get this plugin, the browser plugin for OBS Studio. This is how you can get cool stuff on your. If you see something cool on a streamer's channel, odds are it's because they have that particular plugin. That's how. For things like this welcome window, I've got over here this little social media thing dropping down here. It's how you can get, you can't tell, I'll type something in my chat. Testing, boom. That's how you can get stuff in your chat. You can get your chat to show up on your stream. You can get follow alerts. Woohoo! You can get follow alerts to show up. Is by using that one. Very nice little plugin. Open OBS browser plugin. You can just search browser plugin for OBS. Another thing you will want is Twitch alerts. I used Twitch alerts for a long time, and then I went to something else because Twitch alerts is a little funky. Then I'm coming back to Twitch alerts because they fixed the funkiness, and apparently it happened a long time ago, and I didn't know about it, but I'm back now. When you get to Twitch alerts, just click Launch Twitch alerts. It'll bring you into cool stuff. I'm not going to show you my dashboard, but the alert box. This is the fun part. This bit here is where the magic happens. If you want to get advanced things, is combining these sources with this plugin with this little URL here. What you do, if you want to add a follower alert to your stream, let's do it over on this recording one. If you want to add a follower alert to our stream, once you get this browser plugin, you'll need to download it. You'll need to put it in the where's the actual file? Wherever your OBS is installed. So for me, it's OBS Studio, OBS plugins, and you just drop all those files into the 64-bit one, because I have a 64. If you're using 32-bit, you just unzip them, drop the files into here. Restart OBS, and you should see browser source. It's out of browser source. Twitch alerts. Okay. Right now, it's basically a little mini browser window added onto your stream. You would take this right here, copy that link, drop it right in there. It's got nothing on it right now, but if we were to test a follow alert, you can see it's massive right in the middle there. It comes up with this creepy little monk running and diddly-link noise. I can't stand that thing on my stream because it doesn't really fit me or my stream. So I made something myself. I took that little background box that you see there. The new follower with a black bar, you can create something like that comparatively easy. Just make sure that the black bar is in the middle of whatever Paint.net or Photoshop or whatever it is file that you want to make. You can then set the size to be whatever size you want. You can then just make it smaller or wider or what have you. You can drag it off to the top. Hang on, let's try and do this like a so. Aha! Now you can see it. Good enough. You can basically drag it around until it's where you want it to be. A couple cool things that you can do in here is I have mine set to be the text in the middle there, and 5-second delay. Basically, you just upload an image, whatever sound file you want, you upload it there. Whatever sound volume alert, whatever font you want, you can do unlimited things. I only really have follow alerts and donation alerts. Technically, it's a tip alert, as I'm realizing and learning. But a new tip, boom, you put it there. Whatever you want. You can play around with this and test it to no end. You can just have this up in another browser window if you wanted to. And you can see what it would look like. Maybe. Oh, it's not loaded yet. Nailed it. But basically, for testing purposes, you can just open it up in another browser window until you get it looking like what you want it to look like. Oh my gosh, that's loud and echoey. Until you get it looking like what you want it to look like, and then you can start adding it into your OBS. So that's the easiest way to get those alerts going on. Stream labels. This thing over here, you want this beautiful little program. This is how you can get things on your channel, like the last person who subscribed or followed or gave a donation or what it was. This is how you get those names on there, is by using this little stream labels program here. This is what I do for well, not that. There we go, for this. Up at the top here, the last person who followed, and this is actually a follow train counter, which I did for a little bit, and then that's one of the reasons actually I decided not to keep going with Twitch alerts, because it was funky and I just got tired of it. I'm back now because they fixed it and it works, and it works perfectly. So this is basically a follow train counter you can learn more about what that is. But this text here of the last person who followed, that comes because of having this program here. So all of these things here, you can put on your stream in a text format or some way, in some way or other. Let's just say for our purposes, we want to just add the name of the last person who followed. So we would go, well, obviously you download this. It will look like a file or a little program like this. You just change file settings, whatever it is you want it to look like. Change the output where it is you want these things to come, these text files to come out, and you're good to go. And you can just leave this up while you stream. I actually have this up about this big, kind of off on my second monitor, so I can see when someone is followed and exciting things like that. Just a few split seconds before the rest of the world sees it. Where'd everything go? Good heavens. Add text. Latest follower. Label everything. Okay. Read from file. Browse. Documents. Twitch alerts. Let's see. Most recent follower. Marco, you're a star. And it just pops up right there. And you can do whatever you want with this. You can make it as large of a font that you want. You can make it as small of a font that you want, which would be entirely useless. And you can put an image behind it so it kind of sticks out a little bit, like what I've used. You can do anything you want with that text and manipulate however you want. And as soon as somebody new follows, that text will be instantly updated. So that's how you would add that. If you want to add a chat overlay, this is particularly handy if you thoroughly intend on using YouTube a lot, and you want people on YouTube to be able to see what the comments going on were in your stream as you streamed. My preview video for the update 18.2 raid, I used chat. I normally don't include chat while I stream because most times it just stays on Twitch, and Twitch has now chat next to replay, so there's really no point. But if you know you're going to be doing a lot of YouTube and you're recording for YouTube and you want your Twitch chat to be on the video, you just go to chat box, change it to look like however you want, and this goes in another browser window over here. So, scene collection. I'll just show you what it looks like on mine. Maybe. Of course, it's not working now. Having multiple instances of OBS open and things like that is a little kind of confusing, I think. But it will show up there, theoretically. Or there. Or there. I don't know what's going on. I guess I'll just show you how to do it. So, use browser source. Chat. All right. Come here. Copy that. Roger that. Just paste that there. Let's say we want it 300 pixels wide and 600 pixels high. And if you want to add some CSS here to give it like a slight background, if you want to get a little bit into that, you can absolutely do that. If not, it's just going to pop up like that. And where's my actual chat? Testing again. Boom, and it pops up right at the bottom there. Obviously, you can change the font size and things like that because that's absurdly small and not really visible, which is why I like having a little bit of a black background to it. But if you want to get into CSS programming, that's an entirely different story and an entirely different video. The last thing, actually, I have no idea what this last thing is, but you can use it. Oh, okay, that's exactly what that is. Basically, when things happen, it's a little timeline. You can also include all these things and a browser source. The last thing that I've started using myself is something called a social pop-up. So I'll show you what it looks like over here, perhaps, maybe, if it's working. Aha, this here. This is set to go on a 6 or 7 minute time or something like that. And it'll pop down from the top here as I'm streaming a game, go through some social media things, ways to support the channel, and then disappear. I like it because it's unobtrusive and it's not in the way, but it's still there being like a subtle reminder. I've seen a lot of channels use it. I really liked it, and I wanted to kind of do something for myself. After a long time of searching and then more time kind of poking around with CSS jury rigging stuff, I'm using basically this. This person started it. I can't claim any credit to the actual programming, but I will put this in the link below so you can use it and kind of get it at it yourself. There's a video on YouTube for it, but I can't remember where it was because I just used CCleaner and totally wiped my history, which is annoying because I didn't want it to do that. But I will put this link in there to this URL, and you can go in and poke around and play with it. Right now, you basically can put whatever your usernames for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, PayPal, Patreon, Snapchat, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Origin, Uplay, Nintendo, Battle.net, DeviantArt, Reddit, GameWisp, and Plays.tv. And then to enable it, a 1. To disable it, a 0. Essentially. If you want to make it like a black background, a white background, that would be messing with the CSS here. Feel free. It took me a while to figure out what I was doing with that. But basically that will, well, it's gone now, but it'll pop in unobtrusively, kind of announce to the world that you're on social media, and then go away without being a bother or a burden. I think that's all I can think of. That's not true. There's one more thing. This is something that's not necessarily having to do with OBS, but it's a nice little thing to have. Goodbye. So this is a program that I've found called EXP Soundboard. For a while, I'd use a soundboard that was a combination soundboard and death counter. I didn't use a death counter that often, and you can use a auto hotkey script for that you can find. I've used this for exactly 0 streams, but I can tell you that it's more stable than the other one, because the other one would crash about 10 minutes after I opened it up. So Gussie Moose, shout out to Gussie Moose, didn't quite often get her chicken clucks to the end of the stream as much as she would have liked. So basically what this does is you can set a sound clip to go along with a hotkey that you specify. I use my number pad, like I said, for hotkeys for sound and for scenes. So that's all my number pad is for. I don't use it for anything else. This basically, the thing about this is it's confusing because you can't set a hotkey right away. When you go in, add a sound clip, save, close the program, open it up again, and then you can add hotkeys. That was what messed me up. But basically, this is where, say if I press numpad 1, little short epic music clip. If I fail miserably, that happens. So that's basically what this is for. If you want to add sound effects and things like that into your stream, if when people do something, say at the end of the stream and I play the song and it's the outro, and at the very end people require, then that's how that happens, is using a soundboard like this. So I will also put the link to this in the description if you want to get this soundboard. It seems like it works great for me so far, and you can actually set up multiple outputs for it. So if you don't want it to come through your speakers, but you want it to go into the stream, you can do that using Banana, like all sorts of funky stuff. It's a nice little program and very handy. So that, I think, is it. If you guys have any questions, you can get in touch with me either through the comments section below or on Twitter at Arithert, same channel name basically. If you like the video, if it helped at all, go ahead and toss a subscribe and a like underneath. Hit the thumbs up button, and you know how to get in touch with me. That channel. This is actually an old. This here is an old. This is using Nightbot's chat channel. I need to actually fix that. Whoops. I actually much prefer the other one because it doesn't have this bit on it. This is Nightbot. You can actually do the same thing through them, but they start off with this every time, and I prefer Twitch alerts not having that and starting from the bottom like actual Chatwood might be. So anyways, that's about it. If it helped, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. Take care, everybody. Bye.